See you sucker soon on a hot summer day. Coffee comes back in a nerve-wracking way. The dishes and laundry take the garbage out. What a day, what a day, what a day.
The Capital Region today. We're so happy that you're joining us today. We've got a great lineup, got great music coming up, and we're going to learn all about things Irish and what's going on for the month of March there. And we're also learning about Harry Potter Day. But let me just tell you who our guests are going to be. We're going to be talking about quit smoking in our first segment. Our second segment, we're going to be talking about what happened on the way to the Pharm, which is a hilarious musical. And we'll be talking to the representatives from Slock. And then we're going to hear from Scheenctady, which is a wonderful Irish, 3 women, fabulous music. And that's going to blend right into hearing from Elizabeth Stack, who is the director of the Irish American Heritage Museum, learning about all of their events. And then we're going to just really wrap up this show with Harry Potter. And we're going to have a great time. So we hope that you'll enjoy it. We're going to be seeing a little bit more of Tara's Kitchen as well. And by the way, she'll be coming on when she opens up her spa. So we're anxious about that. Okay, I guess why don't we just start right off now with Nicole. Good to see you. It's been a couple of years.
Yeah,
I know.
Thank you. I always appreciate the invitation.
Yeah,
so thank
and
you so much.
it's always great to have you on. She's the professor over at the Albany College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences. They changed the name since I went there. But anyway, and we're going to be talking about quit smoking. And every year I bring a photo on, which I didn't this year, of a set of twins.
I'm used to seeing that, yep.
Those set of twins, 2 women, one smoked and one didn't, and one looks at least 20 years old.
And just showing the cosmetic effects, which is one of many types of effects.
I mean, we talk about our lungs.
Absolutely. You know, oftentimes when we're talking to patients and just trying to initiate that conversation in terms of the benefits of trying to quit smoking, it's really trying to figure out what is going to be that individual's patient motivation.
What is
so
it
it's
that's going to push
what's
them
going to
over?
get them. And it's definitely something where I always say this to my students: everybody's going to start a tobacco product for one reason, and they're going to quit for something else. And it's really going to be personalized. But there's certainly cardiovascular, heart-related risks.
COPD.
COPD, exactly. A number of different respiratory risks, asthma, increased infections, respiratory infections, a long growing list, unfortunately, when we think about several different types of cancers as well.
Absolutely.
In addition to some of the physical, cosmetic types of effects. So oftentimes it's bringing up some of these different pieces and really kind of seeing what sparks perhaps that motivation for that particular patient, for that individual, that may get them to think about that cessation.
The tobacco companies try to get them early, get them quick. And I noticed that even with this the vaping, they're promoting bubble gum and kids stuff.
Absolutely, and
once they get them hooked, they got them.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, what we see with tobacco use is that majority of tobacco users start that use in adolescence, in youth. And even
makes
what
you
we're
grown
seeing,
up, right?
You know, it's definitely one of those things where it has that cool effect. And unfortunately, I think for many adolescents, it's also the fact of, I don't think it's going to actually harm me, or they're not thinking long term.
Invincible.
Yeah, so they're not necessarily thinking about some of those long-term types of risks. So that's definitely something where, as you mentioned, vaping, that has been in the news quite frequently recently.
And that's nicotine. People think, well, it's harmless, but it isn't.
It's just a flavored vapor. Some of the products, and unfortunately, this is an ever-changing topic. Over the summertime, early fall, there was some of the different reports of vaping-related illnesses, folks hacking devices.
But
exactly.
Those are basically when they're getting on the black market.
And sometimes, exactly, if the devices have been
adulterated.
Adulterated, hacked in terms of additional ingredients or THC, marijuana types of add-ons. Vitamin E was one of the key contributors for some of the recent.
And we know that vitamin E, I mean, although it's a vitamin, it's essential, it does create problems.
If you're using it inappropriately from that inhalation.
You don't want to inhale it.
Exactly. So, but thinking about some of those risks, there's been increased attention, to your point, in terms of youth use of vaping types of products and increased attention of how do we start to pull those flavors which are enticing those youth.
Well, I think they banned the flavors except for menthol. I think
They ban the flavors except for menthol. You're absolutely correct. Menthol and tobacco flavors, but unfortunately for certain products that have either disposable or refillable types of products, so there's some workarounds that are still, unfortunately, loopholes in terms of that overall ban.
Yeah. Well, because of course they have their lobbying that they, trying to.
Absolutely.
Because anything that you can get people to use that's addictive.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like
and the
it's
nicotine
money in the bank.
is the addictive.
It's money in the bank.
Absolutely.
Well, with nicotine, you're really working with two addictions. One is a social addiction, and one is a physical addiction. So that you see people, the glamour of the movies of the 40s and 30s even, where it was like smoking was sexy, and it was like he lit a cigarette for her, and you blew smoke in each other's face.
Exactly.
Which,
it was
to me,
part
is like,
of the.
Oh my God.
It was part of the environment, and kind of to your point, which I think is an excellent point that I always mention as well with my patients, with my students. When you're thinking about that quit process, you have to think about, if possible, the medications.
Yeah.
In addition to changing behavior.
Yeah.
It can't really be one without the
No,
other.
it's the behavior. It's like I eat and then I light up a cigarette. Well, now you do other
Absolutely.
things and you light up a cigarette.
Yeah, I mean, the behavior is such a core component. Yeah. Some patients may not be able or, may opt to not use a medication, but when they're able to, that medication
you
and
just
then
have to
behavior.
alter your behavior. In other words, do something else.
Yeah.
Find a substitute for that.
Absolutely. I use that language as well of just kind of saying, like, let's see if we can come up with some healthy substitutes, some healthy alternatives. Are there other things, friends, family? It's also encouraging, what other support systems are available, because that is critical with that actual cessation process.
And more for renting. They don't want people that smoke in their places. And thank goodness. I just wish that I could walk into a store or something where 10 people aren't by the door smoking, that I'm just about dying.
And that's kind of the public health piece of it. There's so many different facets of tobacco use as well as that cessation
secondhand
process.
Smoke, even if you smoke, I've seen, and I hate to say this, but I've seen women in their car puffing away on a cigarette with 3 kids in the car, and I'm going, those kids are inhaling that stuff.
And that's what a lot of, I think, the public health efforts, tobacco cessation advocacy groups are really kind of pushing, where what can we do from helping the active tobacco user, but at the same time, what are additional types of public health efforts to assist in reducing each of those points, reducing that passive exposure to family members, kids, pets. It can help. It definitely affect. Absolutely.
It's funny because I can't relate to quitting because I never smoked. So I can't imagine what that kind of addiction is to overcome. And I cheer for the people who have overcome that.
Absolutely.
But I can't relate because I've never been in a situation where I've had that kind of an addiction that I had to overcome that.
And for many folks, it will take multiple times for them to be able to quit successful.
That's what they say, more than one.
Absolutely. But I think to your point of if it's something that we haven't actually, experienced, myself, of not being able to say, okay, I haven't been in your shoes. I don't know what struggles.
I feel kind of like bad about that.
Absolutely.
But I'm glad I never smoked.
But I think it's something where then we can turn around, when we're trying to assist somebody that is trying to quit, again, whatever the form of tobacco is, that's where the support system comes into place to
Whether
say.
it's chewing, you could chew. I mean, that's another one.
Absolutely. Smokeless tobacco products. Absolutely. Absolutely. Cigars. So that's where certainly, again,
and pipes, they get the oral cancer with that.
Absolutely. Hookah is other different forms. So, that's where having that social support. So if it's something where I'm working with someone, okay, I haven't been in your shoes, here's some additional support and resources, group counseling, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, national quit line number that again provides.
Do they still have the program where you can get some Shantex or some of those?
It depends. There is different community types of programs. Oftentimes I like to always refer to the national quit line number as well. And that can certainly provide assistance no matter where a patient is. It'll link them into their state-specific quit line.
So go onto your computer, Google National Quit Line, and you'll get that information. It'll take you right to that site. Nicole, always a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you
I
so
know you
much.
got to run because you got a class coming up. So anyways, that's
Thank
the way
you.
it is with us that are busy, I guess. Good to see you, though.
Thank
We're going
you.
to take a quick break and take a look at Tara's kitchen, but when we come back, we're going to hear a little music, lovely from lovely, I believe it is, from what happened on the way to the Pharm. Funny thing happened. Stay tuned.
Of our tagine. Alright, so here we go. So we have a nice medium slice onion chopped in our tagine pot, and then we're just gonna start adding all of our other ingredients to this. So the first thing I'm gonna do is actually put our chicken thighs right in here. We'll use 2 of them, and we're going to very generously massage some turmeric. This is gonna help give it a really beautiful color, along with some garlic. Now,
Well, a funny thing happened to me on the way to the Pharm. No, not really, but I mean, it's a musical, and it's been around a long time, and you'll laugh every time you see it. Isn't it it's so great,
true.
isn't it? Have you seen the movie at all with Zero Mostel and all those? I mean, it's hysterical, isn't it? And you guys are going to be just as good, if not better.
Thank
right?
you.
So Emily Rose is right next to me, and she's the musical director. And with me, I have 2 of the actors. We have Benjamin Amy. Is that how you pronounce your last name? Okay, and Etta Rosel? Okay. And she is going to be playing one of the parts as well. This is kind of a slapstick musical where doors slam and they're in the wrong place, and it's a misrepresentation.
Golden
Tell us
Age
about
musical
it.
theater
Yeah.
with some burlesque slapstick thrown into the mix. Very, very funny, typical Sondheim. It was his first musical that he wrote after he did West Side Story with Leonard Bernstein, and he won a Tony for Best Musical that year that it came out.
Yeah.
So it's a great show.
Yeah, and it's one that will stand up for years and years to come even. Yeah. Benjamin, tell me, what is your part?
I play Hero. He
Okay.
is, I guess, the male ingenue of the show.
Okay.
I describe him as a Disney princess. He falls in love with a girl he sees the first time through the window of a brothel, and he's just very. I want to say simple-minded, but he's very
innocent. Would you say he's innocent?
He's innocent. He's focused on one thing, which is getting the girl who he loves, who he's seen once. You know, he's a very wholesome person.
Yes, and what are you playing?
I play Philia.
Oh, it's your play, Philia.
Yes. So
Okay,
she
and your
is
part is?
Yep, she's a virgin, a courtesan in training, and
A courtesan in training. I love
courtesan in
that.
training. And she's
How do they
very,
do that? No, that's okay. I'm not going to go there.
You have to come see the show.
She's very sweet. She's just not so bright. So
Yeah.
it's been really fun exploring that. And
So
how to
everybody's
bring her to
kind of
life.
innocent in that end of it. And I mean, it's so many mistaken identities and going into the wrong place and I mean, indoors and all the rest of it. You're going to be singing. So let's have you sing so that we can hear a little bit of the music. What is the song you're going to be singing?
The song is lovely. It's right after Hero and Philia have actually met face to face for the first time.
Okay, and set this. So this is the scene where they've just met.
They've just met. Yes, they are standing feet from each other for the first time ever.
Okay, have they seen each other from afar?
Hero has seen Philia. This is the first time she's seen him.
Okay, good. I'll let you stand up and do your song.
My name is Philia.
Yes.
I do not know your name, but you have beautiful legs.
My name is Hero, and you have beautiful legs. I would imagine.
I would show them to you, but they are sold,
I know.
along with the rest of me. I cost 500 minay. Is that a lot of money?
Oh, yes.
More than 300?
Nearly twice as much.
Oh, those are the 2 numbers that mix me up, 3 and 5. I hope the captain doesn't expect me to do a lot of adding.
You can't add?
We are taught beauty and grace and no more. I cannot add or spell or anything. I have but one talent. I'm lovely. All I am is lovely. Lovely is the one thing I can do. Winsome. What I am is winsome. Radiant as in some dream come true. Oh,
Say my name.
Well, just say your name.
Yes.
Very well. Well, I've forgotten it.
It's Hero.
Forgive me, Hero. I have no memory for names.
You don't need one. You don't need anything. You're lovely, absolutely lovely. Who'd believe the loveliness of you? Winsome, sweet and warm and winsome, radiant as in some dream come true. Now Venus would seem tame. Helen and her 1,000 ships would have to die of shame. And I'm happy, happy that I'm lovely. For there's one thing loveliness can do. It's a gift for me to share with you.
Wow. Wow, that was wonderful. What a great piece. And your voices are wonderful. So
Thank
you've
you.
been classically trained?
She has been.
Just in my spare time.
In your spare time. Okay.
Yes.
Because your voices are wonderful. And I'm sure that everybody, how big is the cast?
It's about 20 people.
Okay, good. And you have, who's in the cast?
We have Matthew Coviello as our pseudolus, and Terry Peterson as Senex, along with Ben and Etta, and Kevin O'Toole as Hysterium. He's been in a couple other shows
know
at SLOC
Kevin,
this
yeah,
season.
yeah.
It's a wonderful cast. We're
Yeah.
so excited to share
Is there
them.
going to be a little dancing in there too?
Yes,
You always
there's
get a little
fantastic dancing.
Who's the choreographer?
Aaliyah Jane Peel,
Okay.
and she's done beautiful choreography.
Okay.
It's wonderful.
Is that Joanne's?
Yes.
Yeah, daughter. Okay.
Joanne's
yeah,
daughter.
Yeah, good. But it's if you've never been to SLOC, please get there. Just get a ticket and go, because I'm sure this is going to sell out.
Yes.
I think
Yes,
so.
it will.
It's such a great theater, and this is the first time I have been in a performance at
Really?
SLOC. Yes.
Oh, well,
And
welcome.
So, thank you. It's been such a wonderful opportunity, and I have been so pleasantly embraced by all of the people. Everyone has been so kind and so genuinely welcoming. That
They
it's-
are. They're nice people.
They are. It's been so positive, and I've loved every minute of it.
Yeah, and they're very good people. I know that I love ushering there and being involved with Scheenctady Light Opera. I think that we want to encourage people to get tickets to the show. That it's going to run from March 13th through the 22nd. You can get your tickets online, or you can call them, call their office. They have a website called sloctheater.org, and you can go there and get your tickets. I want to really congratulate you both for your voices and for hearing that piece, because you do sound a little simple. I forgot your name. I'm not good with names. That was really cute. No, I'm sure this is. No, I know you're not simple. I mean, in the play, it sounds really like a fun play to
That's great.
have.
And Gary Hoffman, our director, has just been
He's
wonderful.
wonderful. Isn't he
in
a
his
great
vision
guy?
For the
I
show.
love Gary.
And fun fact, in 2002, the last time that SLOC did the show, he
I saw
starred in
him.
it as Senex.
I know. I saw him.
You did?
Yeah, I saw that play, and it was really great because they came in even through the audience. They came to the stage and up and down. It was really, really great. That's when they were in their old former. I don't want to say old, but they're former.
Former
The
space.
hero in that show is actually wearing the same costume that I'm wearing in
Oh,
this
really?
one, so the
Okay,
costume
good.
has
Well,
been
we don't want
recycled.
to recycle, reuse,
Yes.
repurpose.
Yes.
Right? Good. Emily Rose, I haven't really talked to you a whole lot, but it looks like you did a great job with these
Thank you.
guys.
It's been a pleasure working with them.
Yeah.
This was my first music directing experience at
Okay.
SLOC.
What is your background?
I have a master's in music.
Okay, well, there
and
you go. You got a
performance.
little
Yeah, and I did
background
my
then.
first show last year with Gary in 1776, so
Oh,
it was
that was
fun. It was fun to
wonderful.
get together with him and be on the
That was
opposite
a
side of the table.
difficult show.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
It was a difficult. I mean, the music and everything was really.
Yeah.
Congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that one.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
good. Well, I want to encourage you to get tickets for a funny thing happened to me on the way to the Pharm. It's a hysterical bring your family, bring your kids, bring everybody. It's just such a great musical. I love it, love it, love it. And break a leg.
Thank you.
Yeah, good. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be doing a quick turnaround because we're going to hear from Scheenctady. There are 3 women that of fabulous music. You're going to love them. Stay tuned.
Chopped sweet potatoes. This is going to give us a really nice texture in the tagine as well as some sweetness. And then we have some chopped carrots here. I chop them up the same size as the sweet potatoes so they can all cook evenly. This is ras al hanout, very, very famous Moroccan seasoning blend. We're going to put about a heaping teaspoon of that in here. This is dry parsley. So we're gonna do some fresh parsley as well. So the other ingredients you're gonna need is pomegranate molasses. It's just a nice thick and strong flavor. We're gonna do the same with honey. That is also gonna help us balance all the flavors. Because of all the sweet ingredients in here, I'm gonna add heaping teaspoon of harissa, which is a Moroccan, North African spicy hot sauce. So that's going to bring in some heat to the tagine and help balance some of the other sweet elements that we have in here. And to top this, we're going to take fresh pomegranates as well. This is going to give it a nice crunch.
Marunga Giles, Marunga Giles, not till to now. Carwil mi feru tagel cafe me, akuna gale antamishunti. You are my fair one, my only rare one. Return my fair one, oh hear me cry. For thee, my maiden, I'm sorrow laden. Without my fair one, I'll pine and die. Marunga Giles, 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 Marunga Giles, not till to now. Cadwil me fain, root a gale cafe me, akuna gale on Tomishanti. If wings were mine now to skim the brine now, like a seagull to float to free, to isle ashore now, where bears me for now, where dwells the maiden who's dear to me. Is koig na kriv me an riach na foelen, and no hege trom barne trom. Farber an gri bagdan elon elan, farber an gri bagdan minti drum. Marunga Giles, 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 Marunga Giles, not till to now. Cadwil me fain, root a gale cafe me, akuna gale out to Mishanti. Marunga Giles, 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 Marunga Giles, not till to now. Cadwil me fain, root a gale cafe me, akuna gale out to Mishanti.
Oh, that was wonderful. Yes, good. This is, and so I'm assuming that you started that in Gaelic, is that right?
Yes, we do.
I mean, so the beginning is in Gaelic.
Correct.
And that is the official language in Ireland?
Correct.
Yeah, I heard that they took down all the English signs.
Yes, and well, in a lot of places, especially in the west or the southerly parts. But yes.
Yeah. So this is. I have to compliment you because your harmony is beautiful, and I heard you before when you played the flute and the guitar. I mean, they're in for a big treat, those that are watching.
Thank you.
So, Noeleen, you are originally from Ireland?
I'm from Dublin, Ireland. I'm the youngest of 16. Okay. And I tell my siblings my parents were looking for perfection, so they kept having kids until they had me.
Until they got you, and then they got perfection.
And then I'm not going to tell you what my siblings did.
No, we won't talk about that. No, because we're on air, so they might learn. So why don't we talk to Jen, and then we'll move the mic back. So Jen, you play the percussion, is that correct?
I play flutes and whistles and some percussion.
Okay.
So percussion could be anything from tambourines to shakers to ocean drums,
okay,
and all that. Yes.
But you don't play the Bodhran? How do you pronounce it?
Bow.
It's okay. Be a little violent
it's
here,
like
okay.
a bow and a man's name Ron. It's the Gaelic. Bowron.
Balron?
Yeah.
Okay, good. And that's a nice sound. That it's kind of a soft drumming sound.
Yeah, it's a beautiful sound. It's made from goat skin,
Okay.
and the real professionals. Oh, it's amazing to hear the rhythm they
Well,
take.
yeah, you sound pretty. You're gonna sound
thanks very
pretty
much.
good. Yeah, we're going to hear you pretty soon. So let's talk to Sharon now over here. Sharon, you're playing the guitar.
I am,
Of
12
course,
string.
That's a traditional. You're playing a 12,
12 string.
You and Leo Kotke.
Hey.
I like Leo. Leo's good. You don't find people playing a 12 string very much.
Yeah, this has always been my go-to guitar, and so it just fills out the rest of the harmonies for
No,
us.
I love a 12 string, but
Thank you.
it's like you just don't hear them very often. I've been a fan of Leo Kotke, who plays the 12 string, and I think he's just great too. So, okay, so what are you going to sing now? And where do you appear anyway? Let me talk real quick.
Believe it or
Wait.
not, we've played actually at the Irish American Heritage Museum.
Oh, are they coming on the show today?
I believe
Yay!
so, yes.
They're coming on next.
And hopefully they'll have us again. But we play a lot over around. Patrick's Pub is on St. Patrick's Day.
Okay.
And Duffy's up in Lake George. So we've got quite the agenda for
You got to get over to
the
Katie
month.
O'Byrne's here in Schenectady, which is a
Right, well,
yeah. There you go.
yes.
Okay, good. Well, I'll let you go ahead. And what are you going to? Who's going to introduce this song? Wait, Mike. Okay.
Yeah, this is just a sort of a street song that you might sing when you're jump roping. So it's just kind of a fun, quick one, traditional song called "Tell Me Ma."
Okay.
Tell me, Ma, when I go home, the boys won't leave the girls alone. I pull my hair, sew my comb, and that's all right till I go home. She is handsome, she is pretty, she is a belle of Belfast City. She is a courtin' 1, 2, 3. Please won't you tell me who is he? Let the wind and the rain and the hail go high and the smoke come traveling from the sky. She's as nice as apple pie, and she'll get her own lad by and by. When she gets a lad of her own, she won't tell around when she goes home. Let them all come as they will, for it's Albert Mooney she loves still. I tell me, Ma, when I go home, the boys won't leave the girls alone. I pull my hair and stole my comb, and that's all right till I go home. She is handsome, she is pretty, she's a belle of Belfast City. She is a courtin', 1, 2, 3. Please won't you tell me who is he? Please won't you tell me who is he? Please won't you tell me who is he?
I love the sound of the drum. Oh my gosh, that is so cool. I love it. Yeah. And so, can you show us just briefly? It's just a goat skin, right?
It's a goat skin.
But when you play it, you don't like beat on it. You kind of go softly.
Yeah, you have a thing. This is called a tipper.
Okay.
And the tipper goes up and down.
There you go.
So it's basically,
Oh, so you
you're getting a
get
backbeat.
it both sides.
Yeah, you're getting a front and a backbeat together. So.
Oh. I love that. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, what are you going to sing next?
Yeah, we're going to do a little rebel song for you.
I know, I love it.
Little rebel song, little medley for you.
Great. And these are directly from Ireland?
Yes, these are all traditional songs. Ready, and
Some say the devil is dead, the devil is dead, the devil is dead. Some say the devil is dead and buried in Killarney. More say he rose again, more say he rose again, more say he rose again to join the British Army. We're on the one road, sharing the one road. We're on the road to God knows where. We're on the one road, maybe the wrong road, but we're together now, who cares? North and South and comrades all, Dublin
every Irish event you go to, they're playing that.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. Of course, there's the IRA and all the other songs as well. So they all are bring the Irish out. So are you going to play something else?
We
Sure.
would
What are you
love
gonna
to.
play now?
Well, let Sharon tell you.
Okay.
We'd like to do an original for you. This was inspired when we were in the north, Derry. And we happened to be sitting in the hotel room looking at the weather channel. And I noticed, and this just struck me, that only the north of Ireland, Scotland, and England were lit up on the weather map. And everything below, so the southern part, was all black. And I thought, well, how strange is that? You can't even show the whole country during your weather show. So regardless of why we're divided, we're all hoping that Ireland will be again united. And this is a song called I Can Only Dream. I hope you like it.
I can only dream for Ireland I see, two hearts that beat as one, united eternally. The lines upon your face, like scars upon our land, your eyes that once were bright, made dim by a troubled northern land. And I can only dream for Ireland I see, two hearts that beat as one, united eternally. Where sons and daughters fled to lands across the sea, find a place that they can live in harmony. And I can only dream for Ireland I see, two hearts that beat as one, united eternally. Walls are built by men, leave bloody callous hands. So take your jewel crown and exchange it for a dove. And I can only dream for Ireland I see, two hearts that beat as one, united eternally. I can only dream for Ireland I see, two hearts that beat as one, united eternally.
Well, that was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So let's talk about that song. You wrote that together? You wrote it.
I wrote it, yes.
Okay, and so what? It was the Weather Channel that got you to thinking about this, right?
Yes, it was obviously when you go from the south of Ireland to the north, things change, like the colors of the line. I'm sure Elizabeth will be able to talk about that, but signage, and you see the Union Jack flag in the north. But I think it was just totally the reality struck me when I saw that they blocked out, the map of Ireland in the south. It was
So you were in the north, and
Yeah,
then the south
we were in Derry.
was okay.
She's from the south of Dublin.
Yeah, so this is, I have to admit, I don't know a lot about the politics of Ireland, other than you learn about the north and the south, and you learn about the Protestants and the Catholics. It seems to always be some kind of a conflict going on. So I was really amazed when you told me that they just, okay, we're not part of that, so they just blocked it out.
Exactly.
It was very sad. And I mean, that's how we grew up. We were used to seeing this. And because the north was separate from the south of Ireland. So we would see the grey on the map for the weathers, and we just thought nothing of it because
Well,
it was
that's
part
kind
of England.
ridiculous, because
Yes.
the weather is not political.
I know, exactly.
At least it isn't where I come from,
Right.
anyway. So would you kind of look at this as like North and South Vietnam or North and South Korea? I mean, you're not different countries, are you? I mean,
Exactly. It's a long story.
I know. I mean, I'm just,
much
you know,
time?
I know we don't have a lot of time, but
Actually,
I'm trying to understand it. This is-
your next guest, the historian, she would be so much more influential as far as the answers.
Yeah.
Just growing up as a child, from my perspective, it was the Protestants lived up there and the Catholics lived down here.
So it's basically a religious.
It's more religious
delineation.
and government. Yeah, politics and
Isn't
religion.
that sad,
It's-
really?
Oh,
Isn't that
very,
really
very sad. Very sad.
Ireland is such a beautiful country, and it has such a great heritage,
Yes.
and music, and beautiful people. And why? I mean, it's why
can't
do
we
we
get
need to draw a
along?
line?
Yeah. Why can't we just get along?
Why can't we all get along? Wasn't somebody sing a song like that? I don't know. I think we have time for one more of your songs.
Oh,
so,
really?
Okay, good. Yeah,
Oh.
great. If you have one.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. Is there anything you want to say, that I missed?
I would just like to say that the reason why we love doing what we do, and we've done it for about 12 years now, believe it or not, is that we get to educate our audiences. We get to sing in the Gaelic, reviving the Gaelic language, which is now a part of the European
Right.
Union. And so it's really quite a journey. And I think, Jen, you had something you wanted to say when you first went to Ireland.
Well, when I first went to Ireland, we're singing all these songs and everything, and there's different verses of different songs. And what I realized is that we sang at this festival, the Clifton Arts Festival in Clifton, it's the west of Ireland, and we sang a song called, I forget exactly the name, but I'm singing a verse in the song, and I'm like, wait a second, I was just there. I know what I'm singing about now. I know where this is. I can understand the lyrics that I'm singing. It's so much more understandable. And it really, the songs tell so much of a story, and it paints the picture of Ireland.
And what a revelation it was for you.
It really was. It was
Wasn't that
wonderful.
beautiful?
It
Yeah.
really was.
Okay, so what are you playing now?
Yeah. We're going to do another Gaelic.
Okay.
It's a Gaelic English.
I'd love to hear the Gaelic, yeah.
Sure. That's the other thing. Do we have time or no?
Yeah.
I just liked growing up in Ireland and speaking the Gaelic. I found that a lot of the Irish bands over here don't do Gaelic music. So I wanted to introduce Gaelic to our.
And you're doing it.
And
Doing it right now.
there you go. So
Okay, good.
It's a Scotch-Irish tone.
Okay, I'll
Ready?
Shame olech magillamar, shame o haze gillamar, soon a shane vor as fame, ach we again magillamar.
grief and pain are all I know. My heart is sore, my tears will flow. We saw him go on Bochabio, no word we know of him, och yo.
Shame olech magillamar, shame o haze gillamar, soon a shane vor as fame, ach we again magillamar. A proud young son of several year, a high-born son of gentle mien, a fiery blade engaged in me, a brave, a steel not feel. Shame olech magillamar, shame o haze gillamar, soon a shane vor as fame, ach we again magillamar. I'll sing his praise as sweethearts play, and proudly toast his noble fame. With spirit and with mind aflame, salvation, strength, and length of days. Shame olech magillamar, shame o haze gillamar, soon a shane vor as fame, ach we again magillamar, ach we again magillamar.
Well, that was really beautiful. I just want to say one quick thing. I heard Tommy Sands sing here, and he was talking about, he had the North and the South in the room, and they were singing, and all of a sudden they all broke out in the same song. And he said the music really brings people together. And that's what you're doing.
Yeah. Thank you so
Thank you all for being here. We're going to take a quick break, and when we'll be back, we have a representative from the old sod. We have, right? Elizabeth Stack. So stay tuned.
She's not from Dublin, no.
Oh, she's not from Dublin.
I'm gonna add some oil. So I'm gonna do maybe about a tablespoon, about a quarter cup of water in my tagine. So it starts to build a steam and the stew starts to actually cook. That's it, guys. We're gonna cover this, put it on the stove for about 30 minutes and on low simmer. Here you go, guys. Our tagine's ready. Take a look at this here. So what you want to do is make sure all your chicken is cooked, your vegetables are nice and tender, and you have a nice thick sauce that you can spoon over a bed of couscous, rice, or eat it with some bread. And we're going to garnish this using the other quarter of our pomegranate that we had, and of course some fresh parsley. Dinner served. Bon appetit.
Well, we should have had a video making Irish bread, or Irish soda bread, right? Elizabeth Stack, PhD. She's the executive director of the Irish American Heritage Museum. And you've moved over to Clackamas?
We have.
Yeah.
We're just in, so we're
Yeah.
not kind of fully. Not everything is hung up on the walls, but the
Okay.
painting is done, and we're in for March.
So you're going to be ready to go.
We are.
You have a lot of events coming up, and first of all, wasn't that a great musical?
Oh yeah, Triscalia are amazing, and listening to the interview, I was so fantastic. That's our mission in the museum, is to keep the culture and heritage alive and to pass it on. And so I'm so grateful to have bands like that in this region, and we work with Comhaltas Comhaltóirí Éireann as well, traditional Irish musicians, and other bands that, because the music is, I think, the thing that binds the culture.
And that's what Tommy Sands was saying, that he couldn't believe that you had these factions against each other. And then they all came together singing the same song.
Exactly, and this last song, she said it was Scotch-Irish. I'd never heard it in English. We learned that at school, Oscailga, like in Irish, and so I was listening to the English words going,
Okay, so is that what is that?
Yeah, exactly,
Is that how the American or the English
Well, and it's the same with our national anthem. We sing it in Irish, of course, at home, and here in America it's sung in English, at events that I've been to, and I'd never heard it in English. And I have to say, it sounds more violent in English, but it is the soldier song,
And even our anthem, the United States anthem, it's like, it's just like bombs bursting in the air. Do we really need an anthem like that? I'm sorry, but it's just
I think
my
a lot
personal.
of them are that. It's this burst of nationalism, after
nationalism,
independence.
which we should be looking at more of a piece.
Yeah, I would
rather
agree
than-
with you. Mhm.
But you've got a lot of events coming up, and we're going to look at those slides. So let's show the slides, and we'll talk about each event as they come up.
Oh, great. So, of course, our soda bread, this is the 8th, I think, year. So this we're running combined with a kind of a craft market. We have musicians in from Dublin. Pádraig Timoney is coming. And it's just a family festival. It will be held the same day as our sweater run. So if you want to go out and do a 5K or 10K run first and then come back to the museum for sustenance, we are your people.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then, as I say, it's kind of a full day of festivals. Then we have the history, the top 10, historical events, but it ends with Cromwell. So it's early modern Ireland. That's on March 12th with Dr. Mark Meyer, who's a local professor, teacher. And, everything you were afraid to ask. Step Tune are an amazing group. That's March 13th, and they're going to take us through the history of Irish dance and how the dance evolved. It'll be fabulous.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's combination performance and lecture. That's a paid event. Then the parade day, of course. Parade is at 2:00 in Albany, and so we're having a pre-parade, sort of mixer at the museum with, again, Pádraig.
Well, why not, right?
Why not, exactly. Get you in the mood, to go out in the cold. So lots of Irish music.
It's going to be mild.
Is it going to be mild? Yeah, I hope so.
Absolutely.
Last year it was unbelievable. It was my first in Albany, and, I regretted it. So that'll be on the 14th at noon. And then I'm very excited for this one, Dr. Martin Lydon, again, who's local and he's involved with Comhaltas, the musicians. He's talking about the priest hunters and the penal laws. That's March, I can't read my own writing, this 16th or something, or later. It's a Monday. Check the website at 7 p.m. Yeah. and that's our Rambling House. That is the 19th, which is the Thursday. So this is a traditional Irish session, kind of an open house. Anybody is welcome to come in.
Is this in the new location?
Yeah,
or-
everything
okay.
will be in the new location.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm very excited. You know, the space is much bigger. There's a dedicated performance theatre that we'll have there, a gallery that we can swap in and out.
And you'll still have a genealogy room,
And we'll
right?
still have, yeah, our library is there, genealogy. And then we're doing a series to mark 1920, the centenary, which was kind of the most violent year of the War of Independence. So this month's topic, which is late March, is the Black and Tans. And of course, you know, some of the songs we were saying, this was, you know, a horrific epoch, like in Irish history. The Black and Tans still kind of evoke fear, you know, in Irish communities, because there was a lot of retaliations against civilians, you know, during the war. So full, yeah.
But I want to ask, because how important is St. Patrick in Ireland?
Well, he's the patron saint, you know, and so while parades sort of actually started in America as opposed to in Ireland, you know.
That's what I wondered.
Yeah.
It seemed to be like we're always looking for a celebration.
Yeah, it's more a tradition here. Now, it's a holy day of obligation at home, you know, so there would have been what's called a Pattern Day, maybe around a holy well or something. But apparently the first parades were in the 1600s, actually, down in Florida. Yeah, this is kind of recent, you know, that they've discovered, because Boston always claimed it.
Yeah.
But we celebrated here at Fort William Henry, I think in 1757, you know, pre-independence.
Really?
Yeah, so it was Irish soldiers in the British Army here, and then post-independence Irish soldiers in the American Army, and just showing, you know, that Irish could be good, faithful subjects, you know, in a republic. Of course, it did get a bit raucous sometimes, you know, so they've really tried to promote the idea, and particularly in more recent years, here in Albany too, you know, we don't have open containers on the streets anymore. It's a family event, you know, and so you want to encourage people to take pride in our contributions. As I say, Irish people have been here since the 1600s, you know, and so it very much is a nod to the service. Look at all the police and army and firemen, you know, who march. I find the American parades a little bit more formal than they are at home, you know, because it is this kind of nod to service, you know, that people have given in the communities.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but it's, you know, it's a great day, you know, and I think we're so. When I came to America first 9 or 10 years ago in New York, and, you know, watched that parade going up Fifth Avenue, it is, you know, kind of goosebump inducing, you know, to think like, wow, our people are so esteemed, you know, that we can take over Fifth Avenue and do this quietly and respectfully. And then you see those flags that the firemen and police hold for the 343 that were lost on 9/11. You know, it's an amazing amount of sacrifice and contribution in a country where they were immigrants who were reviled in the 19th century, you know.
Well, it was the Irish, I mean, it was, well, they came in waves, and the Irish was one wave.
Yeah.
And they had, you know, derogatory terms
anti-Catholicism, and, you know, and there's fear, you know, of the other, of the new, you know.
Of the new wave. It's like, well, aren't we doing that today?
Well, and that's, you know, I feel very strongly as a museum director, we're an immigration museum. You know, we happen to tell the story of one group, but it's the same story of people who fled
whether
the famine,
Italian
were
or
refugees.
Polish or Russian. I just went to the Russian
Syrian
festival.
Today.
Syrians.
Know, the Irish famine era immigrants were refugees, you know, and we have to see it like that, you know, that it wasn't, they didn't come fully prepared to be Americans. They fled starvation and disease,
well,
you know.
And many times the people who, you know, they always think, well, people who came were rich. Well, they weren't rich. And I know my grandmother came over with 3 kids in steerage. So can you imagine with 3 sick kids in steerage?
And, you know, immigration wasn't regulated federally until 1965. So people who say, you know, my people came the right way, there was no right way. You got off a boat, and unless you were visibly sick or visibly,
they would send you back.
Yeah, but if you weren't visibly sick or visibly crazy, you came in. Yeah, and you needed a sponsor. But it was easy. You know, there's a story told in an Irish community that everyone called this guy uncle because he sponsored everybody, but like he didn't even know their names, you know, so he was cousin, you know, but cousin or uncle, you know, because he couldn't remember all the names of the people he sponsored, you know. So
and I mean there was a different time, and
it was because there was no
names
paperwork.
Were changed because the people couldn't pronounce them, so they wrote down what they thought they heard. And you didn't know how to spell your own name, you know, so you lost many were
H's
illiterate.
or
My grandmother was an illiterate woman.
Imagine. And here you are today hosting, you know, but that's the American story, you know, that we've all come out of something else to hopefully move forward in the next generation.
Yeah, you know? and the word immigration should not be a dirty word.
Yeah, exactly.
Because every wave that comes brings richness in some form or another.
Well, that's it. You know, we feel very strongly that the museum helps to show other Americans, you know, that it's part of a kind of a tapestry or a mosaic, and, you know, everyone celebrates St. Patrick's Day. You don't have to have a brogue or wear green, because actually blue is the official colour. But
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Who knew, exactly,
So
But, you know, yeah, everyone contributes, and so
Right.
there should be kind of room for everybody.
I went to the St. Patrick's Day parade many years ago in New York City, and I ended up with a T-shirt that said, "I survived."
Oh, yeah, well, it feels like that sometimes. I mean, it's a long march, and it's cold.
Good. We've been talking with Dr. Elizabeth Stack. She's the executive director of the Irish American Heritage Museum. Please join in the parade, go to their events. They have a wonderful museum. I haven't seen the new one, but I know the old one was just really nice. They had the different exhibits that they, and many of their exhibits, they go worldwide.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
We're
so-
very pleased, you know, and around the country, we've been in 16 states, so
Yeah, that's
so
wonderful.
Thanks, Ann.
Thanks for coming. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to go from there to Harry Potter. You
Excellent,
know,
yeah.
might as well
Mystical.
move them right along. Good. Thank you.
With a salad or eat it just as is. So we'll get started. We're gonna use about a cup of chickpea flour. We're gonna mix all our ingredients into our mixing bowl. Cup and a half of water, some oil right in here. You want it to be a nice smooth batter, so we're gonna just kind of whisk it up. But I also want to add some seasoning into this. So we're gonna do a little bit of salt and of course some ras al hanoum. We're adding harissa right into this. We're also going to put some fresh.
So who doesn't love Harry Potter? I do. I've seen all the movies, and you know, wow, I can't imagine that it had such a resurgence of reading for kids.
Well, I think all things are generational, right?
Yeah.
So you read them as kids, you grow up, you have your own kids, and then you're excited to reread them with your kids.
Right.
And so that's what we're excited about.
Right. We're talking with Tyler Kellogg from the Museum of Innovation and Science, which is here in Schenectady on Knott Terrace Heights, and they have an event coming up, a family day, where you can also see the butterflies, right?
That's true. That's true. Yeah, we have our butterfly house fully built. We've had over 4,000 people go through that already this year.
You didn't
and
lose
so we
any
have
butterflies, did you?
We've lost a couple. They do have a life cycle, but we've
Yeah.
replaced them with a whole new crop. So
Okay,
we've got
good,
lots of
good.
butterflies.
Well, I mean, people walking out with them, they don't.
I think we've caught 2 that have been escape artists so far.
Okay.
But we've got some protocols in place, so it's very difficult for them to get out.
Well, and it's not so much the people, it's the butterflies.
That's
They're
right.
the ones that hide
That's
on
right.
you and get out.
Stowaways, as we call
Stowaway.
them.
They
Yeah.
go, "We want freedom, freedom, freedom." So tell us about the Harry Potter Day. What day is it, and what's going to go on that day? I mean, there's
Yeah.
so much with Harry Potter, goblets and wands and hats and you name it.
The whole 9 yards.
Yeah, the whole
Yeah,
nine.
so it's Saturday, March 14th from 10 until 6 p.m. Or excuse me, 10 until 4 p.m. Didn't
Right,
mean to misspeak
okay.
there.
You might be there
and,
till 6.
I will be there till 6, probably later. But we've actually created an immersive experience for Harry Potter fans. And so we have everything ranging from a live action sorting hat, where you can actually be sorted into your house, to potions and alchemy.
Okay.
We've got all sorts of spells you can learn, and the true life science behind those spells.
Really?
In addition to a
So
whole
I
lot
can
of other
learn a
secrets.
spell or two, huh?
You can learn 13 spells.
13 spells.
We
Will
thought,
that get rid of my enemies? I don't have any enemies.
I can't
I'm
tell you
only
that
kidding.
it will, but I can tell you that we can try.
I have no enemies. I hope. At least I don't think I do, but who knows? But and then so you have the spells. So what about the wands?
Yeah, so we have Grandal the wand maker coming, and
Okay.
he is a woodworker who has a steampunk bus conversion he's done, where he's turned this short bus into a woodworking studio. And so for a nominal fee, you can actually have a handcrafted, one-of-one unique wand made by
He'll make it
him.
right in front of you?
Right in front of you, right with you. And so it's really neat.
What
it was
an
quite popular last year.
Well, isn't it great for kids to see that, the process of making a wand?
Well, you know, it's really a metaphor for magic, right? You
Okay.
take this piece of wood and you transform it through a series of altercations into something magnificent. And so it's really a neat opportunity for us to have him there. And what else you might like, Ann, is we've got a Fantastic Beasts show. Now, we don't have any actual Fantastic Beasts, but we have a number of animals from a local animal handler who will be here.
Oh, who is it this time? Wes Laraway? No.
I'm not sure who they've booked so
Okay,
far.
okay, all right.
And then we've also got a magician that'll be there all day doing various pieces.
Oh,
And so
nice.
there's all sorts of hands-on activities.
And where are you holding the Quidditch match?
So the Quidditch match will happen everywhere. I assume it will be in the parking lot for parking. But yeah, we've actually looked at several local colleges to see if we can get Quidditch teams, which are a thing people are actually doing now.
Really?
I think it's more like broom ball than it is actual flying around.
They certainly aren't flying around.
But we can pretend.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's what an imagination G.K. Rowling had.
Oh, it's amazing.
And she got rejected in her first books.
Well, I think all brilliant people get rejected,
well,
right?
Yeah,
I mean,
Kennedy did.
You have to. I like the idea of you comparing J.K. Rowling's to Kennedy.
Yeah.
I think that's magnificent.
Yeah.
But I mean, really, it's to see into someone's imagination can be difficult sometimes because you have to assume what the rest of the world will be able to see. And so I think that when we take something like J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter and create a science-based day around it, what we're hoping is to bring the magic to life by teaching you the science behind it.
That's so important. I mean,
it's so important.
And I carry this one step further with Star Trek because I'm a Trekkie. And if you look at the old 1950s, Star Trek, the science behind that, you look at it today and you don't think anything of it. So it wasn't like, oh, that was really crazy. No, they really tried to put the science behind it.
Well, I think that for millennia, people have let imagination guide innovation.
Yeah.
Right? And so very often, I think in the last 100 years or so, science fiction has been what has inspired real science.
Yeah.
People say, well, wouldn't that be cool? But then other people say, well, what if we were the ones to do it?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so we try to support that in all of its forms at the Museum of
So the
Innovation Science.
space-time continuum, we're going to be able to
We've
do
made
the
some
string
breakthroughs.
theory,
Yeah,
the
they're
string
completely
theory?
secret. We're not allowed to talk about them yet, but we have actually cracked space-time, and we figured out time travel. So.
Okay, good, because I just want to, I'm not sure whether I'm going ahead or behind, but
We can do both.
Yeah, it'd be fun to see the past as well as the future.
It would be indeed.
Yeah, but anyway, so is there a charge for this?
There is. If you buy pre-sale tickets, they're standard prices, so $12 for adults and $8 for children.
For an all-day event?
Yeah, and if you buy them at the door, they're $3 more, so it'll be $11 for children and $15 for adults.
So just get your tickets ahead of time. At least, and then you can plan.
That's right.
So since it's that long, you're talking from morning till 4 o'clock in the afternoon. What do you do if you get hungry?
Yeah, so we have Slide and Dirty food truck there,
Okay.
and we're quite excited for that. And on top of that, we're going to have lots of snacks available as well.
Okay, good.
So plenty to do and plenty to eat.
Yeah, and you have a new exhibit as well that maybe we'll just mention quickly because it has, I mean, you're going to do the Harry Potter thing. But where are you doing the Harry Potter throughout the museum?
All over, yeah. All 3 floors actually of the museum. So we've got stuff in the basement, we've got stuff on the main floor, and up in the odd. So.
Oh, so if you want to really get to see the museum in all its entirety, this
its
is what
full
you
glory.
do. But you have climate and
We do.
weather.
Yeah, it's weather to climate. And it's a new exhibit that we just opened last month. And this exhibit essentially teaches the difference between weather and climate. A lot of people don't understand the difference, and that's okay.
The weather, it's warm today,
sure.
so
Sure, climate ultimately is a pattern of weather over 30 years.
Yeah.
And so what we can do is we can take these long periods of history and study them in slightly larger than 1 year portions, and through that understand the change.
It's like a snapshot
It is.
versus looking at the
Correct.
entire.
And so, it's completely apolitical. It's not about, anything like that, which we've heard from people say, oh, it's so political. It's
No,
not.
it's
We're
not
talking about rain and
political.
snow.
This is science, it's not political.
Right. And so it's a very hands-on experience, and I think that one of the best features of it is that kids and adults alike can learn. Yeah. So no matter what level of understanding you have, we've got something for you.
Yeah, the hands-on. I have to just quickly say who's coming on next week, and then we'll finish our conversation here if I can turn a page here. Oh, next week we're going to continue with our Black History Month. Janis Joplin, they're doing a tribute to Janis Joplin over at Frog Alley. Miss Montgomery County is going to be here talking about food and wellness. Mother Teresa Cancer Awareness is going to be on. United Way of Capital Region, the YWCA Women of Achievement. So much going on here, isn't there?
There is a lot happening in the Capital Region, to put it mildly.
I know. You don't get bored, do you, Tyler?
I don't get bored. No, I don't have time for it.
No, I know. So you've got the, so when they go, they can see the butterflies. They can see Harry Potter.
That's correct.
Or see, the Harry Potter events. And those will spill out into the parking lot as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they'll be out on the patio. We'll be in the parking lot. We're going to have a planetarium show. We'll have Challenger Learning Center Adventures, which is a simulated space mission. So there is no shortage of things happening on March 14th at
on March 14th, grab the kids, grab your grandkids, whatever it is, go up there, spend the day, and explore.
And I should mention, Anne, On June 12th, we're doing an adults only 21 and over Harry Potter After Dark.
I
So
gotta
if
be
you think that
there.
this is something you're interested in but don't want to be around all the kids, mark your calendars
No,
for
I tell
June
ya,
12th. It's
I
going to be
don't
great.
know. Hermione, I think I could pass for Hermione.
I think we could probably make it happen.
You don't want to miss it. Enjoy Harry Potter. Enjoy our community. We have such a wonderful community, and you really need to get out there and see what's going on. And believe me, I love my side.
Well, we love you too, Ann. So thank you so much.
Okay, no, I really do. We have so many good things in our community, and we hope that you will avail yourself to them. I'm Ann Perilla. You're watching Schenectady Capital Region Today.